Okay, so this is part one to me finding out that my mother and my husband slept together. It's a pretty long story, so hopefully it's not too many parts. But so we'll start from the beginning. So one night, my he was my boyfriend at the time. He was at work, and my mom and I were at home drinking, and she said that we should go out to the bars. And I was like, okay, cool, like Dwight can take us. So he got home and asked him if he wanted to go, and he was like, yeah, let's go. So we went to the bar. We all got, well, they got really, really drunk. I got tipsy. And so I ended up being the one driving. So we went to my cousin's house. I hadn't seen her in a while, so I wanted to catch up. When we got there, my mom was already being like overly weird with, we went inside and my aunt was in bed with her boyfriend. And my mom like laid in the bed with them and was just being really weird. So I made her get out of the bed and I told her to go outside to the car. So I sent her outside to the car, and me and my cousin were inside. Mind you, my boyfriend at the time, Dwight, was in the backseat of the car, knocked out. So me and my cousin end up coming outside to the car, and my mom comes to me and she's like, hey, can you take me and Dwight home? We're really, really drunk and we just want to go home. We're tired. And it was about like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, that's understandable. Okay, like I'll go ahead and take y'all home. Me, on the other hand, I want to stay here and catch up with my cousin. I miss her. So we get in the car. I'm in the driver's seat. My cousin is in the passenger seat. And behind her is my, at the time, boyfriend. And behind me is my mom. And as I'm driving, I'm talking to my cousin, but I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and every time I look in the rearview mirror, I see my mom leaned over, whispering in my husband's ear, well, boyfriend at the time, ear. And he's just like this, like seeming like he's out of it. And I did wonder what she was whispering, but I didn't think anything about it because she's my mom. So my cousin and I go and we drop them off, and my mom helps him get out of the car, and he can barely walk. So, I'm thinking like he's going to go inside, pass out, nothing serious. My cousin and I drive off, and as we're heading back to her house, my mom calls me and she's like, hey, Danielle, where are you at? And I was like, you know where I'm at. I'm going back to Serena's. And she was like, oh, okay. We get off the phone. So me and my cousin proceed to get to her place. And once we get to her place, my mom calls me again. And she's like, hey, when are you coming back? What are you doing? What are you doing tonight? And I was like, I told you what I'm doing. You know what I'm doing. I'll be home soon. And she was like, oh, and I was like, okay. So we get off the phone again, proceed to talk to my cousin. Then she calls me again and asks me the same thing. So then me and my cousin look at each other like, what the heck? And my mom asked me the same questions. And I told her, why do you keep asking me that? And she was like, oh, I'm ready for you to come back. I want to hang out with you. Let's have fun. So I was like, okay, I'll be there soon. So then continue talking to my cousin, and I get a text message from my at the time boyfriend. And he texts me and says, hey, babe, where you at? And I said, Serena's, babe. And once I say that, I'm like, what the heck? And my cousin was like, I think you should go home. Like, basically see what's up with that. It's weird. So I head back to the house, and as I'm getting close to the house, the Wyatt and I song comes on, which is the song that I happen to use for our wedding. It comes on, and love that song. So I pull up to the house, and the song is just now finishing, and I want to finish the song. So I sit in the car and I just finish the song off. And every night I look back and I wish I would not have finished that song. So I get out of the car, I walk in the house, and when I walk in the house, as soon as I open the door, my mom is coming out of my room with her hair all over the place, and she's looking down, and I looked at her and I was like, hey, what were you doing in my room? And she looked at me and said, oh, and she looked very startled. She was like, oh, I was just asking Dwight if he needed some medicine. So once she says that, I'm just like, oh, okay, because it was something that she would do often. Every time that he would get drunk, she would ask him if he needed any medicine. Never me, but him always. And, I didn't think anything of it. She was just always, oh, I love Dwight, I love him, my son-in-law, etc. She was just always on his. So I go in the room, and once I walk in the room, my at the time boyfriend is laying in bed, and he's facing towards the wall, and he looks like he's passed out. So I sit in bed because I'm about to try to have with him. And then I look to the ground, and I see that my mom's shoes are on the floor next to my bed, and they're like facing towards the door, like as if she was sitting in my bed and took her shoes off. So I looked at him and I said, what the fuck? What the freak? What's going on? And he then turns over and was like, what? And I said, why are my mom's shoes right here? And he looked at me like he didn't know what to say. So I instantly go to try to smell his. And I'm going to sound stupid in a lot of this story. I'm going to sound so slow. Judge me if you'd like. Honestly, like, I was an entirely different person, and I did not know my worth, and there was just a lot going on in my life at the time. I was just a different person. I didn't understand my value. So I tried to smell it, and he immediately punches me in my face. I know I married him afterwards. Please don't judge me. So he does this, and he repeatedly punches me, and I'm screaming help for my mom. And I end up calling the cops, and my mom comes in the room, and she begs me not to press charges on him. She persuades me not to press charges on him. I was really drunk, and my mom had a huge, she manipulated me for many years. So I did not know. I don't know. I don't really know what I was thinking. So I allowed her to persuade me not to press charges on him or send him to jail. And so he ends up leaving, and the next day he calls me and asks me to come back, and I talked to my mom about it, and she's like, well, if you want to, I think you should, he's not really a bad person, etc., etc. He does so much for you and the kids and for us. So yeah, so I did take him back. I know. And I took him back, and after that, the next day, that day when he comes back, he goes and he apologizes to me about what happened, said he was really drunk, don't know why, and then he proceeds to go to the room and apologize to my mom for putting his hands on me. And then about 30 minutes later, she asks if he can take her to the grocery store. So I'm like, okay. So he takes her to the grocery store, and then when they come back, I do question him. I'm like, so what happened last night? Did something happen? Why were my mom's shoes in the room? And he was like, oh, she came in there asking me if I needed medicine. That's it. He was like, she just kept coming in here asking me if I needed medicine. And I was just like, okay, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. I know that she does do that. So yeah, I'm not thinking anything because it's my mother. And we continue about our normal relationship. And no, he had never put his hands on me before that. And I don't know, I guess I was just delusional. So we went back to our normal life, and I will be posting a part 2. Okay, part 2 of me finding out my husband and my mother slept with each other. So then, like I said in the previous part, we did continue about our normal life, and things were fine. Things were normal, other than the fact that every time my mother got drunk, she would be hugging all over him and telling him how much she loved him and telling everyone how much she loved Dwight. It was so bad that my aunt would get mad at her and say, why do you do that? Why are you always on his? And she would just say, I just love him, he's the best son-in-law, all these things. And me being so manipulated and delusional, I thought that that's exactly what it was. So Then it got to the point to where she would go out and we wouldn't go out with her because I just would tell him I don't want to go out anymore. Like, I just want to stay at home. So I would be asleep and she would come in my room. And one time I pretended to be asleep and she came in my room and asked him to take her. And he was like, I gotta ask Danielle. And then she left out of the room and I told him I heard her and why did she wait until I fell asleep to ask him that. And he was like, I don't know, she's being weird, etc., etc. So then she would ask him to come and pick her up from the bars and I would say no. I would go and get her, and as soon as I would pick her up, she would ask me, where's Dwight? Why didn't Dwight come and get me? And I wouldn't really say anything, and my aunt would get mad and say, why are you always worried about Dwight? And like I said, I wouldn't think much of it. So then 3 weeks later, he proposes to me. And when he proposes to me, we come back to the house. I'm so excited to show my mom that I'm about to be a wife. She knew that it was something that I deeply wanted. I just wanted to settle down, and I was tired of just dating, just being in the dating life. I wanted a family. So as soon as I showed her, she had rage in her eyes, like pure rage. And I was confused, and I even asked my fiance, why do you think that she's acting like that? She even started to like walk through the house, just going crazy, smoking cigarettes, stressed, being really mean to me, just starting unnecessary arguments with me and telling everyone that I was crazy and that I was treating her poorly. But in reality, no. I treated my mom like a queen. She was sick, I took care of her. She needed anything, I got it for her. She needed a ride, I made sure she had a ride. I was even going to buy her a car. So the only time she would be nice to me is when she would be asking me if I was still going to buy her a car. Oh, if you're not going to give me a car, just tell me, things like that. But something in me was just telling me not to. And also my cousin was telling me, don't buy her shit. So during that time, my then boyfriend, fiance, was like, I'm gonna hurry up and get us out of here. We need to move out. Like, we don't need to live here anymore. Like, she's making it really uncomfortable for us. And like, you know, it was so bad that I would tell him, like, I don't want you walking around the house with your shirt off. And I would come home from work and he would still be walking around the house with his shirt off, things like that. And so then we move out and we get into our own apartment. And mind you, that was when the first situation happened. It was in January of 2024. And whenever he proposed to me, it was February 14th of 2024. So we move out in March, and in time goes by, and my mom, she ends up getting on drugs, and I'm just stressing and crying every day to him, like, I don't know what's going on with her. I don't know why this is happening. And he's just acting confused. And anyways, so then fast forward to his birthday, which was August 11th of 2024. We don't really have anything to do for his birthday, so we go to my mom's to go drink with her. And the entire time that we're there, he's acting irritated, and I just really don't know why. And finally, his friend calls and basically says, like, does he want to go out? So he tells me, I'm not going out without you. And I'm just like, okay. So we go back to the house, and I try to get ready, and I'm like, you know what? Like, you just go with your friend. Like, you have fun. Like, it's your birthday. Go turn up. Like, I'll stay home. And he insists. He's like, no, I'm just going to go drop him off, and then I'm going to come back. So then he leaves, and he ends up being gone for longer than the amount of time it would have taken for him to actually just drop his friend off. So I start to call him, and his phone is going straight to voicemail. He's not answering. So then he ends up coming home, and I have the door locked. And he climbs through the balcony, and he comes in, and he goes off on me and tells me I'm crazy. Why am I locking him out of the house? And he takes my iPad and accuses me of cheating on him. And he leaves with my iPad. So I then go to his grandmother's, and I'm like, where is he at? He needs to give me my iPad. He shouldn't be doing these things, etc., etc. If he doesn't bring it, then I'm going to call the police. He ends up going to jail that night, and I go visit him the next day. Mind you, guys, give me grace. I've learned my lesson. I did a lot of stupid things in this relationship. So I go visit him, and I ask him, like, what happened? Like, where were you at? What were you doing? And he was like, oh, I was at my friend's house. Said friend that he went out with. I was just venting to him and his girlfriend. And I was like, what were you venting about? Like, I feel like it has something to do with me. And he was like, no, it has nothing to do with you. It was nothing. It was nothing. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to go out tonight because I know that that friend and his girlfriend are always at the club. So I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to ask her what you were over there talking about. And he was like, no, don't do that. Just begging me not to do it. So I'm like, no, something is telling me, my intuition is telling me that I need to find out. I need to get to the bottom of this. So I get off of the visit and I go to my mom's and I'm telling her, and she's like, no, I don't think you should go. I think you're overthinking it. I don't think there's anything. I don't think he would do anything to you. He wouldn't do anything to you. He wouldn't hurt you. Like, I think you're doing too much. I think you're being crazy. And I was like, I'm not stupid. And mind you, the whole time he's calling me and begging me not to go, telling me he's gonna leave me if I go to the club. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna find out. So then me and this girl, we end up going to the club, and I end up seeing his friend's girlfriend. And I ask her, and she immediately gets aggressive and tells me, don't be coming up asking me about that nigga. I don't have nothing to do with that. And like basically acting as if she wanted to fight. So then I tell her, like, we can do that. Mind you, I was a whole different person, so it sounds funny coming out of my mouth now, but I was just like, we can do that. So I end up getting kicked out of the club, and I go outside and I'm waiting for her to come out, and the girl that I came with ends up coming out there, and she's like, oh, there she goes. And the girl is in the corner crying. Me, I am a girl's girl. I don't think I really am anymore, but at the time I was a girl's girl. So I see her crying and I go up to her and I'm like, hey, this is the friend's girlfriend. I'm like, hey, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? And she was like, my friends left me and my boyfriend left me. I'm not going to be using names. My boyfriend left me and I don't have a ride to my car. And I was like, you know what? Even though you just did all that, I'm going to give you a ride to your car. So she gets in my car and I'm taking her to her car. And as I'm taking to her car, I'm asking her, like, what happened and the night when my boyfriend went over there. And she's like, oh, well, my fiance. She's like, oh, I can't tell you. I promised them I would never tell anybody. And I was like, I don't see why you're showing loyalty to these niggas. I was like, the last time that me and them went out, your boyfriend was with so many different girls. Why are you showing loyalty to him? Like, what happened? And I'll proceed with the part 3. Part 3 of how I found out my husband and my mother slept with each other. So, like I was saying before, I was like, just tell me. I told his friend's girlfriend, just tell me, like, what was the conversation? And she was like, okay. She was like, you just shouldn't be with him. And I was like, why? And she was like, he's not a good person. And I said, why? And she said, well, he slept with someone really close to you. And I was like, who? And she was like, someone really close to you. And I said, my cousin? And she was like, and mind you, I only said my cousin not because I thought that she would do something like that, but just because she was more our age. And she was like, no, someone closer. My heart immediately dropped because the first thought that came to my mind was the night when I walked in and she was coming out of my room. So I said, my mom? And the girl was like, yes. So mind you, I instantly get mad, not only at my mom and Dwight and the friend, but at the girlfriend, because that is something serious. Why is that not something that you would want to share with another woman? Because, and mind you, I was just going based off of how I would have handled the situation. So it may not have been right for me to get upset with her. Some may believe that it was right. I don't really care. This is how my story went. This is what happened. So I got upset and I told her to get the F out of my car. It shouldn't have taken all of that for her to tell me. So she gets out of my car, and when she gets out of my car, I guess she left her phone in my car. So I immediately go to my mom's house, and I walk in and I ask her, "You slept with my man?" And she looked guilty. So I jump up on the table, and she's yelling at me, telling me I'm crazy. And I jump up on the table and I go and I just start binking her. Needless to say, I ain't gonna go more into details, but I just start binking her. And she proceeds, my cousin, actually, one of my cousins, she ends up trying to call the police on me, and my friend that I was with told her not to do that. I'm not going to incriminate anyone. She tells her not to do that, and I'm proceeding to bing my mom. And one of my cousin's boyfriends ends up pulling me off of her and was like, "Hey, I don't want you to go to jail. Like, just go ahead and go home. You're drunk. Like, just figure this out tomorrow." So then we get in the car and we end up driving. I tell my friend to drive me because I couldn't drive because I was so drunk. So I tell my friend to drive me to my aunt's house because I wanted to tell her about what I had just heard. So we go to my aunt's house, and as we're there, I'm talking to her and telling her what happened. And my fiance's friend ends up walking up. I guess he tracked the girl's phone that was in my car, his girlfriend's. So he walks up and he's like, "Man, give her phone." And I was like, it's in my car, go get it. So then, I'm not even worried about them anymore because I'm just like really baffled about the information that I was just told. Hurt, confused. I didn't know what was happening. So she goes and she gets her phone, and after that, his friend, let's call him Isaac. We'll call him Isaac. He ends up telling me, asking me what happened, like what's wrong, what's going on. And as I'm about to tell him, the only words I get out is, "Your girlfriend just told me that," and then bink, I feel somebody punch me in my face and I fall to the ground. We end up fighting. It's his girlfriend who hit me. We end up fighting, and I end up whooping her. It was a really fast fight, but yeah. And so immediately I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like, you just told me this and you think I want to fight you? So I start walking to my car, and once I get into my car, Isaac comes to my car. I guess when he got his girlfriend's phone, he put his phone on my charger, and he's grabbing his phone, and I was like, "Bro, like, I just want to talk. Like, what's up?" So he gets in my car, and I drive off, and I'm about to ask him, like, I'm just like, I'm crying, and I'm like, I just want to know, like, what happened. And he's like, "What did she tell you?" And as I'm about to tell him, the girlfriend is in her car, and let's call her Audrey. Actually, her name is Aubrey. I don't care to tell her name. So she's like trying to run into the back of my car, like hit my car. So then I pull over onto a roundabout, and I get out of the car, and I'm just like, "What's up, bitch? Like, I'm on that. Like, let's fight." So we fight about 3 rounds, tear her up all 3 times, and she ends up getting in the car in the passenger seat. She's all beat up, and she's yelling and calling me names and just treating me like ish, knowing the information she just gave me, that I'm already hurting, and saying that's why you're effed your mom, etc., etc. And I get in the car, and I just start binking her again, and they end up leaving. And I go home, and I write my fiance, who was in jail at the time, and I'm like, "What happened?" And he ends up getting out the next day, and we meet up at the store, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell you what happened, but we did not sleep together. Your mom sexually assaulted me." And he tells me that basically whenever I left, that she kept coming in the room asking him if he needed medicine, and that while we were on our way to drop them off at the house after the bar in January, that, and this was January 21st of 2024, that as they were in the back seat, when I saw her whispering in his ear, that she was asking him, do you want to? And she asked him that multiple times, and that whenever I dropped him off, that she kept going in the room asking him to. And then she came in and grabbed his and started kissing his neck and telling him, I can please you, I can do whatever you want to make you happy. And that he pushed her off, and that when he pushed her off was whenever I walked in the house. That was it. So then I end up contacting my mother and trying to get the information out of her, and she's hanging up in my face. She's threatening to me, and sorry, this is a little, and she's just accusing me of being crazy. And so then I also tried, so he and I both go over there. He's like, take me over there, I'll make her tell you the truth about what happened. So we go over there, and when we go over there, he's yelling, April, tell her what happened, tell her what you did to me. And she's at the door, and she's like, you little shh. And I'm like, tell me what happened. I have y'all both right here, y'all both tell me what happened. And she just calls the cops. So we leave, and obviously with that reaction from her, I believed him, because she wouldn't give me anything. And I know it may have been very gullible of me. No, it was very gullible of me, but like I said, I was in a whole delusional world. So he and I proceeded our relationship, and I go to my grandmother's, and I'm trying to like talk to her about it, and she's calling me crazy too, basically calling me delusional, saying you're bipolar, like you're wrong, you shouldn't have done that, etc., etc. Everybody's making me feel crazy. So the only person I have to fall back on is this man and his word. So for that next year, he manipulates me and makes me feel like she sexually assaulted him. And this is the only story that I have to rely on. I will be back for the fourth part, I believe. Part 4 of how I found out that my mother and my husband slept together. So for the next 2 years, the next year, we spend it, and he is like overcompensating for something he did wrong, but I'm not realizing he's spoiling me, he's treating me well. There's literally no issues. He becomes the perfect man. Literally, like, he had everyone thinking that he was such a good man. And I end up starting to build a life with Christ. And I start going to church, and we start getting involved with people who are really involved with the church and really close with a preacher. And life just seems great, peaceful. I thought that I rid myself of my toxic family, and that I was in a better situation because he was making me happy, and he was doing everything that a good man should do, right? So I end up, all for that year, I'm depressed. I'm in bed. I'm crying about my mother. And he basically tells me, like, you don't have to work. Like, you stay home, and I don't care how long it takes. Just heal. So I do that. And so then finally I get to a point to where I'm just like, the story doesn't add up, like, and I'm constantly having him repeat the story to me, and he's constantly telling me over and over the same story. And he ends up telling me, like, we need to just hurry up and get married. And I'm on the same page. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, I'm thankful that you removed me from that. Like, she's been such a toxic person in my life. I'm just glad she's removed, and I'm just ready for us to start our new life. So we get married, and everything is great. And so we got married in May of 2025, May 31st of 2025. And basically in during that time, I'm constantly still asking him questions about that night, and he's telling me, you're never going to get over it. Why do you keep doing that? Like, you're just driving me crazy. I'm not happy with this, etc., etc. You're crazy, calling me names, calling me trash, telling me that basically I'm of lower value. And like I said, during this time, I am getting closer to God. I'm in my Bible, and I was really, really big at the time. So I also started to go to the gym, go on walks, and just start to focus on me pouring into myself. And one day I tell him, I'm like, hey, like, there's this Jesus March in Houston. I have to go. Like, I want to go. So he ends up telling me, like, okay, like, I'm going to make sure you go. And I end up going to the Jesus March. And when I go to the Jesus March, it was amazing, guys. Like, oh my gosh, it was everything. There were thousands of people there. I was surrounded with people who were just of God, and just like it was just amazing, just full of praise and just worshiping. It was so great. So as I'm there, there's this woman there, and if she sees this video, please comment. I don't know her name, but there was this woman there, and every time I turned around, she was next to me speaking in tongue. And she, I couldn't understand anything she was saying. Obviously, she was speaking in tongue. But then towards the end of the night, and mind you, there's thousands of people there. So for me to continuously be next to her, it was crazy. So towards the end of the night, I got baptized. And afterwards, she's standing beside me. And I hear her talking in tongue. But then I start to hear my name. So I turn to her and I'm like, hey, are you saying my name? And she was like, are you Danielle? And I was like, yes. And she was like, I've been looking for you all day. And I was like, what? And she was like, God told me to tell you that everything is about to seem like it's falling apart, but trust God and it's all falling into place. Keep going. So she says that, and we end up just saying a prayer together. And as I'm leaving, I hear God tell me, like, give me permission to leave my husband. And my husband knew that I felt strongly on, like, not leaving a marriage, like, especially, like, just because, like, of just having marital problems. Like, I didn't believe in that. So I ended up calling him, and I'm like, hey, like, God just told me that, like, we're not going to be together forever. Like, and he just starts going crazy, calling me names, telling me I had to have went out there for something else. And who am I talking to? Who's in my head? And I'm just like, I'm talking to God. That's it. So after this, he ends up, like, every day accusing me of cheating, leaving, starting to treat me poorly, calling me names. And every time he's doing this, like, I'm locking him out of the house because, like, boy, please, like, you're not going to be bringing this environment around me and my kids because of what? So one morning I'm like talking to him about how he's making me feel and how he's making me feel less than, and I'm his wife, like, he should be treating me better. And he ends up going outside, and I told him, like, you need to have somebody pick you up and take you to work because, like, I just can't be around you right now. So he ends up calling someone, and it ended up being his boss, who we also leased from, who was also our pastor, who also married us. And he basically tells him that, like, I'm going crazy, that I've been treating him poorly since the day that we got married. I just changed so much on him. So he was advised to leave me, knowing that I was a stay-at-home wife, and he was our sole provider. So he leaves, and then 3 days later, I end up, and mind you, I'm in a delusion, so I'm begging him to come back. Like, I need you. I don't have anyone else. Like, why are you doing this to us? Like, if we're going to separate, can we do this the right way? Like, let me at least get a job and get back to a better place before we do this. So he's like, no, like, we're going to work it out, etc., etc. So he comes back and he's still treating me poorly. And he ends up losing his job because they end up catching him stealing. And mind you, they caught him stealing the day that I went to Houston. He put gas into a black SUV. So they assumed it was mine because I had a black Jeep. But I was like, no, I was in Houston. There's no way he was putting gas in my car. But whatever. I don't really care if he was cheating on me. I don't care. So, after that, what happens? We end up having to move into another place, and it's out of town from where we live. And we get a house, and we're there, and he just is still treating me poorly. And I'm just, like asking him, like, what is the problem? Like, what happened to my husband? Why have you changed so much? I'm still in delusion. I'm thinking that he's changing into a different person, but really he was just showing his true colors. So I'm taking him to his new job. And as I'm taking him, he just starts crashing out, calling me names, treating me poorly. And we're getting into arguments. And he ends up getting out of the car and like running off. And I'm like looking for him. And I end up getting out of my car to look for him. And he ends up jumping in my driver's seat and trying to take off in my vehicle. And when he does this, I end up like crying, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Like, you're going crazy. Like, you need help. You really, really need help. So I convinced him to let me take him to MHMR, which is a mental health facility, I guess. Like, they help with counseling and things. So when he gets there, he ends up telling them that he wants to kill himself. I mean, unalive himself. Part 5 of how I found out my husband and my mother slept together. So, like I said in the previous part, I take him to get mental health services, and he tells them that he wants to unalive himself. So, they immediately admit him into a mental facility. And he ends up going, and he's gone for about a week. And during that time, I get in contact with his grandmother, which we had also went no contact with for that past year because she was very toxic towards me. She didn't like me because I'm this color. I know I'm light skinned, but because I'm not Caucasian. And she said she didn't trust me. So I ended up calling her, getting in contact with her just to let her know, like, hey, like, he's really struggling mentally, like, because at this point, like, I'm thinking that he is the person going through so much. So, we get back in contact with her. He gets out of the hospital, and when he gets out, he's treating me poorly, very, very poorly still. So I end up telling him, like, hey, one morning, I'm like, we're arguing, and he ends up choking me. So I pick up a brick, and I don't throw it at him. I throw it past him just to scare him because he was choking me. And he ends up, I end up going to work, and I only had like a 4-hour shift that day. So I come back home from work, and he's gone. I'm looking for him. I cannot find him. I get in contact with his grandmother. She's like, oh, I don't know where he is. I haven't heard from him. But, like, her story is not aligning. And I'm like, you know where he is. Like, you're lying. So she ends up telling me, oh, he actually did admit himself into a mental facility. And he told me to tell you that he just needs time. So I'm like, okay. So then a week passes, and I hear nothing from him. No phone call, no nothing. And I'm just confused. So I start going to her house, and I'm knocking, and I'm asking her, like, to tell me, like, what's going on. And she's like, I don't have to communicate anything with you. And I'm like, he's literally my husband. Like, I should know what's going on. And she's like, no, I'm not going to tell you. I don't have to tell you anything. And like, she ends up calling the cops on me. And it's not like I'm going there acting crazy. I have video recordings of those days as well. I have proof of everything. So she calls the cops and basically accuses me of being crazy. And I'm telling her, like, look, like, we're about to lose our house. He is the only help that we have. Like, I need to know. I need him to at least call me to try to help me figure this out. And she's like, why does he need to help you? And I'm like, because that's my husband. And anyways, so he ends up being in the mental facility for 3 weeks. And he ends up getting out and not getting in contact with me. The only reason why I found out he was out was because he watched my Instagram story from a new Instagram. And when I saw it, I just immediately blocked it because I was just like, what the heck? Like, you cannot do that. So then he ends up calling me the next day and accusing me of being the reason why he admitted himself into the hospital because I abused him. And then he ends up we end up getting back together. And when we get back together, I ask him, what were you doing there? Like, why were you not calling me? And he admits to me that he had gotten in a relationship with a girl there while he was there. And he gives me the password to his Instagram, and I see all of the messages, and he's calling her mama, telling her he can't wait to bitch out of her. And they're on FaceTime. She's sending him nudes. And this is all the day that he got out of the mental facility. And mind you, he didn't contact me until the day after. So I end up responding to the girl, trying to ask her like what happened, and she's telling me that I'm crazy and that I'm just scared that he's going to get a mind of his own and leave me and my kids one day, and basically like that's that I treat his family like shit, and basically everything that he did to me, he went in there telling her that I was doing to him. And so, like a dummy, I stay with him. And we end up getting a place. And mind you, whenever he gets the place, the apartment for us. And when he gets the apartment, I end up finding out that how he got the apartment was he stole his grandmother's ring and he pawned it. So the way I find that out is because the grandmother contacts him about it, and basically she's accusing me of being the reason why he did that. And I'm just like, he's a grown man, like he did that on his own. So he ends up leaving back to the mental facility again, and based off of me questioning him about the situation with the girl in the mental facility. And right before he leaves, he tells me, see, you're never going to get over this stuff with your mom. And I was like, what? I don't even bring that stuff up anymore. What are you talking about? So as he's in the mental facility again, I'm still praying for him. I'm praying for him every single day. And my mom ends up writing me out of nowhere. This is December the 4th. She ends up writing me out of nowhere with this long apology. And I'm just like, what are you apologizing for? And she's like, for everything I've put you through in life. So I end up telling her to call me. And she was like, okay, give me some time. So I'm journaling and I'm writing a prayer out for my husband, just begging God. Like, I know that they say, like, if something isn't for you, like, to let it go. But I do believe that my husband can come back to you, Lord. Like, bring him back to you, Lord. Bring my husband back to me. I want the person that I fell in love with. And as I'm writing this out in my journal, my mother ends up calling me. And that's where the confession comes in. She tells me what happened. And he ends up contacting me and telling me that he's stuck in Temple because when he admitted himself into the mental facility, he told them that we were divorced and that he was homeless and had nowhere to go. So they immediately sent him to a shelter in Temple after he was released from the hospital. So no one is answering his calls. No one's trying to help him come back. So I'm the only one answering, and I end up telling him, like, I'm not going to help you. I know everything. You need to tell me what happened. Tell me the truth. And he's like, what? And he starts mentioning different girls. And I'm like, dang, how many times did you cheat on me? Because no, that's not what I'm talking about. You need to think deeper. And so he's like, hold on. is this about your mom? And I was like, yeah. And he said, wait, babe, I'm your husband. You believe other people over me? You think that I would do that? And I told him, the sitch is over with. I know what happened. I know everything. You need to tell me the truth now. So then that's where his confession comes in. And I end up telling him, look, I'm going to help you get down here. You and I are going to coincide, and we're both going to separate. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot continue this relationship. Had I known this from the beginning, I would have never married you. Part 6 of how I found out my husband and my mother slept with each other. So, like I said, I told him, like, I would have never married you. But you know what? Like, I am still a good person at heart. I'm going to help you get down here. And we're going to separate from that point. So he agrees and says, you know what? Like, that's the least I can do. I respect you. I'm so sorry that I put you through this. We don't have to sleep in the same beds together. Like, I'm going to respect you and your kids. So he comes back, and when he comes back, he tries to sleep with me, and I tell him no, I just can't do it. It sickens me that I have been sleeping with you this entire time after you've already been inside of my mother, and you think that I'm going to sleep with you after knowing that it happened. He gets mad and he starts to tell me that I'm equal to my mother, that I'm trash just like my mom. Basically just like that I'm trash. And so I lock myself inside the restroom, and the entire time he's outside of the restroom calling me childish, telling me I need to be an adult and talk to him because he's my husband. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just quiet and I'm just praying to God. And he ends up telling me I'm about to burn this bee down, and begins to try to set the door on. And so I immediately start to beg him and ask him to please stop, please stop. And he eventually stops. And then after that, mind you, this is Christmas Eve. So Christmas morning, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I go downstairs and I ask him, can you please leave? It's Christmas. I don't want you to ruin Christmas for my kids. So he gets up and he asks me, so are you leaving me for real? And I said, yes, I am. I cannot continue this relationship. He then gets mad and says, everybody uses me. Everybody just uses me. And so I start to bring up people that I know cared about him. And one of his friends, his name is Ricky. I said, what about Ricky? He's a good friend. And he said, no, he's using me. And I said, for what? And he looked at me with black eyes and said, for you. And I was like, oh, so that's the story you're going to tell people now, that I messed with your friend? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, whatever you have to do to make yourself feel better about the things that you've put me through, do it. I don't care. I'm still leaving you. So he looks at me again and says, so you're leaving me for real? And I say, yes. He snatches my phone, puts it in his pocket because he knows I record everything. Puts it in his pocket. Immediately wraps his hands, both. And as he's doing so, I'm reaching, trying to get him off of me, but he's like 6'2", 6'3", so he's really tall with really long arms, and I'm only 5 foot, so it's really hard for me to reach him and like try to get him off of me. And so I eventually grab his shirt, and his shirt starts to rip. So with one hand he lets go, gets his shirt, rips it entirely, ravels it up, puts it around, and starts to tighten it, and is trying to and telling me, you told me till death. So, and I'm getting scared, and I'm just trying to fight for my life. And he starts to drag me through the living room by the shirt, with the shirt wrapped around. And he puts on one of his boots and starts to try to stomp me out in my face. But I'm moving so much that he's missing my face. And so I felt myself losing conscience. So the first thing I thought was, what are you doing? Kick him in his nuts. So I kicked him in his nuts as hard as I could, and he flew back, and he was on the ground holding on his balls saying, oh. And I got up and I grabbed his other boot and I just started to hit him. And I'm telling him, get the F out, get the F out. But I can barely even say these words because I can hardly breathe, because I was literally about to lose consciousness. So, he ends up getting up, and when he gets up, he snatches his other boot from me, and he puts on his jacket. He doesn't have a shirt on. He just puts on his jacket, and he's like getting ready to leave. And I pick up his belt, and which it had like a big Western like buckle on it, and I start to hit him with it, and I'm telling him, get the F out, get the F out. And then so he snatches the belt from me, and then he's starting to put it on, and I'm like, give me my phone. So he throws me my phone and then pushes me as hard as he can, because he knew I started dialing 911. And as I'm dialing 911, he snatches the phone, hangs it up, and he gives it back to me, and then he leaves on a bike. So then I call the police and I press charges. And from that, because my kids were there, I received a CPS case. Not because of anything I did, but because what he did to me while they were in the home. And he ends up the cops end up looking for him that night and that morning. And that after a few hours, he ends up writing me on Instagram and calling me from a text app number saying, you called the laws on me. Are you serious? You had me running from the laws all night. Why did you do that? And basically I took from that is that he thought that I wasn't going to press charges. 1, that I wasn't actually going to leave him alone. 2, and 3, that I would just take him back. So I knew, like, absolutely not. So I did not respond to his text messages. I did not respond to his phone calls. I just was sending it all to the police. So he ends up going missing for a month. So that was December 25th. And on January 25th, before January 25th, I end up getting his form of contact from someone close to him. And I end up providing it to the detective and also the CPS agent, because for some reason they wanted to talk to him. So on January 25th, a month after it happened, they get in contact with him, and he tells them that he never did any of that. The marks on my neck had to have came from me, that I did it to myself, and shows them that he has marks from whenever I was hitting him with the belt, and said that I have been physically abusing him for the past 3 years. And he also tells the CPS agent that I'm not a good mother, that I'm always drunk, and that I physically abuse him and my kids, which is where I say he tried to get my kids taken away. But the Lord knows, the Lord sees all. So thank you, God. My CPS case actually got closed a couple of days ago. It was actually the beginning of this week. She spoke with family members and also with my children's teachers, and everyone had nothing but great things to say about me, because I am a wonderful mother. And I did used to drink a lot, but I actually quit drinking in March of last year. Don't get me wrong, every now and then I do have a drink or two, but I don't drink. I just don't. So yeah, and right now the detective is actually working on a case for him, and hopefully I will get my justice soon. So that's the end of that. I don't really know how to end this, but thank you guys for all of the support, all of your kind words. I know that this is crazy, and I know that in a lot of this y'all are gonna call me names, stupid, dumb, but I learned my lesson. I removed myself from his life, and I am moving forward. This is going to be the second month of me being free from him. And trust me when I say it is never something that I am willing to go back to. God has been so good to me throughout this entire process, and I learned so much from this, so much. And I hope you guys can just understand that things like this do happen in real life. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, but that's the end.
So what are we going to call this? Because I don't know what to say and I don't know what to call this. Are we sure that that woman is her biological mother? Because I'm asking myself, are we sure if that woman is her mother or she was adopted? Because I don't see the reason why a mother will be sleeping with her daughter's husband. Anyway, I do hear that these things happen because I've seen a lot of situation whereby mothers will be so jealous of their own daughter. Like a child you gave birth to, a child you nurtured, you will be jealous of that child, especially when their daughter is very pretty, when their daughter ended up being so beautiful, pretty, like they will be so jealous of their daughter. So I've heard stuff about that. And also I think the woman is not, I don't know, I don't know if I should say she's not the mother, or she's the mother. She's just a mother that is spoilt, because there are some women, they are so sexually starved, or they are very very into men, that they don't really care who the man is. They don't care if he's the husband to their daughter. They just want any man that come to their way. Because I don't know, in my side where I'm from, we call this abomination. A mother cannot be sleeping with a daughter's partner. So me, that I have a daughter now, I will be crushing on my daughter's partner. Me even saying it from my mouth, it feels like a taboo. We call it a taboo. A taboo means something that is, I don't know what to say it, something that is not acceptable at all, something that is shameful. Like it's disgusting. Yeah, that's the word. How can you be sleeping with your daughter's man, and to the extent you are jealous that she's engaged to him? I blame the man as well. How can you be sleeping with a mother and a daughter? She said her mother was jealous when she was engaged. Your own mother that should be happy for you, that you have a man in your life that is going to get married to you and make you happy. Like that one, that mother is very selfish. Those are the type of women that are so sad that they are old, that their prime is over. Because sometimes you see some women, they will still be dressing like a child. Those type of women, I see them as women that they don't want to get old. They still want to be enjoying their self. Those type of women, I'm scared of them. I am really really scared of them, because those type of women, they don't mind sleeping with their daughter's husband. These things do happen. But my own is that, so there is no men outside anymore. Is the one your daughter brought home for her to introduce to you that, mama, this is my partner. That is the one that you are now sleeping with. Even the guy is still at fault. You couldn't even tell your girlfriend that this is what your mother is doing, I don't like it. You went with the flow. He's lying. They were sleeping together. And after all that, she still ended up marrying this same man. How can you marry a man that you know vividly well that he was having an affair with your mother? This feels so disgusting. Like, I don't know, a man. Oh my God, the woman is not even ashamed of herself. Thank God that she did not kill her daughter. Thank God that she did not poison her daughter, because some of them, they will fall in love with the man, and at the end they will think of how to execute their own blood, their own daughter. I've heard about men sleeping with their daughter. That one is even more disgusting. Now, a mother sleeping with her own daughter, fiancé, abi fiancé, husband or boy, I don't care. To the extent that she was not happy when they got engaged. She was not happy. When they got engaged, she was very angry, because she wanted to she wanted to constantly having an affair with the guy, knowing fully well that this same man is with her daughter. This woman, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you, I don't know, but you are you need deliverance, because with a woman like this, I think she's just jealous of her daughter, that she don't mind to share anything with her daughter. How can you be sleeping with your daughter's man? Your own daughter, a child you gave birth to, a child that came out through you. You know the funny thing, some mothers, they will even beg the daughter to leave the man for them. They will say, I gave birth to you, please, this is what I want you to do for me, just leave this man for me. I don't know if she's still in that marriage. So what do you guys think about this video? Is it nice that a mother would be having an affair, sleeping with her biological daughter's boyfriend or biological daughter husband? Is that even normal? Or what do you guys think? For me, I think she's not the biological mother of the daughter. She needs to go get a DNA test done. Then if she's the biological mother of the girl, she don't like her, she is jealous and obsessed with her daughter, she has to go far away from that woman. She has to be far away from her. If not, she's going to regret it. That woman, she does not love you, my dear. She might be your mother or your adopted mother. Run far away from her. For a woman to sleep with the same man she clearly know you are sleeping with, she might even poison you. So my dear, run as far as your leg can carry you. So guys, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, and also don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.